Tonight, we start the final stretch of the season and a chance for the championship to be clinched, but that doesn't mean the battle is over quite yet, as everyone will be keeping an eye on the points throughout tonight's event. And for tonight's event, we arrive at the virtual Kokomo Speedway, located an hour and 15 minutes north of both Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Lucas Oil Raceway. This track was opened in 1947 and reconfigured in 2004 to relatively what we see today. The first race at this track was in July 6, 1947, and it's been nearly 73 and a half years since then. And of course, tonight it has, continued to be utilized here in the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series, and this is race number 9. You'll be able to watch it all right here on the Global SimRacing channel. I'm Gary Weaver, and alongside me is co-commentator DJ Clark. Joe Peak is in the director's booth, who is using cameras provided to us by Dougie Beard. We take our own GSRC Dirt Street Stock out on track to see how the car handles this historic venue, and let's go ahead and check that out over on our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Kokomo, Indiana. Unlike the Beach Boys Kokomo, this Kokomo is real, and automotive giants like Chrysler, Fiat, and Delphi have a big presence here. And fittingly, it is Indiana after all, we got a dirt track. This quarter-mile facility has been here since 1947 and over the years has hosted all the greats of the American Midwest. The Andrettis, Voigts, Unsers, Kinzers, they've all made trips to this town in nearly 60,000. ARCA even ran some races here in the 50s, but nowadays this track is home to mostly open-wheel midgets and sprints, with the occasional modified super late model or street stock turning laps. The track we know of today came into being in 2004, when essentially they started over. They knocked the place down, widened it, added a little bit of banking from its previously flat configuration, and added more walls. Its quarter-mile length but sharper paper-like clipped corners, well, they really add an interesting dynamic compared to the sweeping corners at most dirt tracks. That gives you a chance to build up some speed here on these straightaways. But that corner comes up awfully fast. As the race wears on here, it'll be a challenge to keep it in the wet and get that traction down when you hammer home the throttle for those longer straightaways. Have a line picked out and get ready for that sharp corner. Things can happen very fast here too on corner entry, and if they do, you might not hit much that's soft. The only truly straight part of the track is the front straightaway. That back straightaway takes more of a D shape, so be mindful of that if you're riding a cushion. So strap in and get ready for some dirt track action here at Kokomo Speedway.
And that is a look at our GSRC track guide. We'll go ahead and hand it off to DJ Clark, who, DJ, you've been to this track before as well.
I have. As a native of Indianapolis, this was about the closest thing to a home dirt track that I have. So I have been to Kokomo many, many times. And I can assure you that even though it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere on the sim, it is actually in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. But it is a gem of a racetrack. It is only a quarter of a mile wide, not a lot of banking, but it is wide as can be all the way around this track. And what it's going to mean for these dirt street stocks tonight is that we're going to be able to see some really great multiple wide action as we come through here. It's tight and it's twisty though, so you don't have a whole lot of time to be on the loud pedal before it's already time to set up for the next corner. Any sort of little bobble, little mistake coming out of a corner, though, can cost you exponentially, but you're going to have to use the brake pedal to get these cars to turn around these tight corners.
And these tight corners will be a very much a thing to keep an eye on, as well as carrying your momentum throughout these tight corners. That's going to be something, again, to keep in mind throughout tonight's events, which, well, we're going to go ahead and bring up your race details for tonight's event as well. It's going to be round number 9 of 11, the third to last race of this season. Drivers, of course, utilizing the dirt street stock in a heat race format. 24 cars will be making the feature, and everybody's all utilizing that same setup. So once again, it all comes down to skill and how you drive the car compared with the track. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you were good. I was just going to say it is one of those things that you definitely got to do, as now we're going to take a look at our championship graphics here. You can see Bobby Rafferty with that absolutely commanding lead atop the field. Steven Spees behind him, hoping to get in on it, but his chances are quickly diminishing as we've only got 3 races to go, and Rafferty's ascent towards the top looks nearly unstoppable. He's got to have some mega bad luck in order to get taken away. All the way back, though, it is a little tighter between J.R. Shepard, Chris Davis, who's been on a great run as of recent, and Brandon Pradfoot, who has just been the absolute hot driver with rounding out that top 5.
That's going to be absolutely incredible with how this championship will play out. And I'll touch on what I said as well in the beginning, that he can't quite clinch it just yet, Bobby Rafferty. So in the meantime, we'll get to that later on, as we'll go ahead and get to our sponsors for tonight's event, starting off with the Jim, of course, the Jim Beaver Esports, and Jim Beaver Esports, where the heat races are brought to you by Jim Beaver Esports, and they are the official esports team of Jim Beaver and the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You can follow the team at JimBeaverEsports.com, or you can visit them on Facebook, Twitter, and even Instagram to keep up with their drivers in iRacing World Championships, private leagues, and so much more. And of course, a longtime sponsor is the Cruise Shop, which has been in operation since 1986. They're a team of highly experienced travel agents, and they have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. You can give them a call today at 260-755-6125, or you can visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams, one destination at a time. Well, it is the closing minutes, well, rather second half, I should say, of this practice session. And, well, on top of the timing charts is Bobby Rafferty. But this weekend and next weekend are going to be something that's going to be something to very much keep in mind, because, well, DJ, it's going to be quite exciting as Rafferty ramps over the victory lane. But this is going to be a very interesting build coming up this Wednesday.
It is. There's a whole bunch of new stuff coming to iRacing. So these guys who are racing in one of the oldest dirt cars on the service, they're going to have to focus out and kind of bleed that out. But we are getting a new track on the dirt side of Cedar Lake Speedway, as well as the big excitement. Big block modifieds are coming to iRacing. Everybody's super excited about it, Gary.
And of course, if you are interested in utilizing those cars, and of course this car as well, being the original dirt, well, one of the original dirt cars here on iRacing, you can go ahead and go to iRacing.com/membership. And what do you know? New users get 50% off. So if you ever want to give it a shot, you can, in US dollars at least, go for a month of iRacing for $6.50. And of course, there's so much more if you've been keeping up with iRacing socials with things coming up in the upcoming build. So if you're interested, go ahead and get yourself a membership for iRacing. In the meantime, Cedar Lake is going to be something to very much keep in mind. I actually might get that.
Well, I know I'm certainly going to do it, as well as a couple on the open wheel sides of adding in of Long Beach is going to be very exciting. But tonight we are focused on the Field of Dreams field of dirt tracks, as my dad used to call it. It kind of comes up out of nowhere as you see Joe Segala working his way around this quarter mile. Segala is currently seated back in 11th place, only with a 15.3. You ride on board, Gary, you can really see just how fast these corners fly at you.
And these corners go absolutely quickly, and you mentioned how wide it was. This is a great onboard shot by Dougie Beard. You have what looks to be just absolute lanes of space, larger than your average highway, of course. Well, interstate, I should say. It's about like as what the equivalent to maybe a 5-6 lane interstate going both directions. But luckily, everyone's going the same direction here, so even getting up into the outside wall. You see the speed with Joe Segala, 42 miles an hour mid-corner up on the outside lane. I believe that's actually him trying to get his speed back up. So about 55 to 60 miles per hour mid-corner, and it's just a lot to keep in mind. You have so much room available to you, and that's where that multi-wide racing comes into play.
Most certainly, but as we've seen time and time again during the course of the BRL season, the track is going to dictate where you've got to go. You've got to look for that moisture. If you look there right now, there's a lot of that gray, a lot of that kicked up dirt on those outside sort of middle lanes. So that's going to stop a lot of guys from being able to run there. But as we continue to run these cars again and again and again over this circuit, different lanes are going to open up. Don't be surprised if we see a big area in the middle that sort of gets all of that gray in it, with a good lane developing up by the cushion and then maybe even down by those tires. You could see guys running side by side, but probably about 15 feet apart.
It's going to be absolutely pretty much hectic, as Ryder Robinson, I believe, actually this week has a new paint wrap on his car. Very shiny number, very much approved. That's definitely one way to stand out and use the iRacing spec maps as well to your advantage. In the meantime, though, I was doing a double take at the timing tower, and all your top three all separated, not even by a tenth, just by 0.061 seconds. The last one rounding that out is Chris Davis, who, oh, by the way, as far as we know, in case you're interested, well, he is looking for a sponsor, as far as we know. So if you're interested in having, in case you're interested in having your logo on his car, go ahead and contact Chris Davis. But in the meantime, Davis has been doing a very incredible job throughout this season, you know, staying consistent in the top 5, top 3. And when he's out there, he usually does stay there. It's very hard to get rid of him, which is good because he is very, very persistent and consistent.
He really does. As you see him here working that low line, great shot again from Dougie Beard. You can see where the track's starting to rubber in, where the moisture's wicking away and those shreds of the tire are starting to go in. Davis just trying to get the power down out of that corner. Now, with any dirt track like you look at, yes, the low line like Davis is running right there is the fastest way around from point A to point B. But going up higher, you're able to keep your speeds a little bit higher and carry more momentum. So that is the give and take you're going to have to do around this track.
And that give and take will be very much needed as well. And if you're utilizing that inside lane, those tires would be dictating whether you give or take for you if you're not going to do it yourself. So Davis cutting it very close on the inside, but regardless, doing a incredible job. Second place and the point standings coming into tonight, that being, of course, Steven Spees. Well, he's sitting at 9th place in the timing standings at the moment. So we'll see if he can figure out which part of the track will work out best for him.
Yeah, right now, Gary, a lot of these guys just kind of doing reconnaissance laps. Kokomo following the trend we've seen time and time again of the track getting slower as more cars run on it. So I think for some of the big hitters like we've seen earlier, guys like Spees or even J.R. Shepard down in 5th place, that's a little bit of an odd position for him to be in that far down. These guys will come alive a little bit more during qualifying, as everybody's going to be starting on the exact same track surface.
Sigala trying to get his car gathered back up and trying to figure out which line is going to work for him. But it looks to be running mainly the outside lane, so looks to be that he's sure that with enough persistence, the outside lane will come into play. But in the meantime, as Sigala parks it down the inside, side-by-side practice racing, in this case, between Robinson and Rafferty. And with Bobby Rafferty, this is the thing that I touched on as well in the intro, is that the championship points can technically be said that they are clinched, yes, but that's by one race, and really they won't be solidified until the second to last race of the season, because aggregate points, if you get first place in qualifying, in the heat, and in the race, and let's say Bobby Rafferty doesn't make that leap, well, immediately that points gap's immediately shrunk by 84 points.
Exactly. We're going to have to be keeping our calculators out to keep an eye on that. And we obviously saw that with Brendan Proudfoot missing some time earlier in the year, running some real dirt cars out there. As if he hadn't, I think he would certainly be higher up in the fifth in the championship. You watch here on board Austin Belke getting a little bit of that outside wall. Rafferty cutting down low. Looks like he's going to call it a little bit of a day there. But you can see just how tricky this is when you're up into that gray stuff on the outside, how easy it is to lose control of the car and just tap that wall.
That slick surface not exactly helping, but not exactly harming. It's a mix of both in some cases. So we'll see what exactly can become of that here once we head into qualifying in the next few seconds. As practice is about to wind down, the sun starts to set, the track starts to very slowly cool down. And so far, luckily with the weather, well, it's a cool, partly cloudy 73 degrees in air temperature and 74 degrees in track temperature. And the wind, well, not doing too much, but at the same time, keep an eye on that wind, that's for sure. And a very high humidity, 89%.
Well, as a native Hoosier, I can tell you that now kicking up to 90% humidity, that is Indiana in the summer. Love it or hate it.
Oh, man. Well, luckily I wouldn't know that because I'm from a place that has dry heat, Arizona. But regardless, in the meantime, qualifying underway here in the first 15 seconds. And of course, well, if you want to see who qualifies where, you can go ahead and take a look over at gsrc.tv for your scoring and timing, in case you want to keep up to date with your favorite driver and see where they sort themselves out throughout tonight's events. In the meantime, Bobby Rafferty about to finish his first of 4 timed laps, and well, just like that, he'll slot himself into first place 0.3 quicker than Chris Davis, 2.5 tenths quicker correction than Chris Davis on the first lap as well.
That's a really good lap from Rafferty. He's taking advantage of that high line to really get some momentum along the outside. Getting a little bit slower there on that second lap as we've seen this track start to lay off, but that's going to be Rafferty, Davis, Morton, and Robinson, the only guys to lay down times thus far.
I wouldn't be surprised if a few drivers were waiting until the near end of qualifying, because these laps, 15 seconds per lap, so you essentially have about a full minute. So in some cases you could wait until about a minute 30 remaining in the session to put in qualifying time if you do need if you feel like you would need to do so. As Steven Spies puts in the time, gets himself 4th place, gets into the outside wall though, so that lap for him might not be valid once he goes to the start-finish line, but still continuing on, still has 2 more laps for his run.
Yeah, and even if he didn't get into the wall there and get that 0x, he would indeed not have made it, but he's going to keep running that high line here. Justin Morton, though, able to jump his way over Chris Davis into 2nd place as here he comes off the line. That is Morton putting in a cool-down lap there as Brandon Proudfoot jumps up to P1 with a 15.273.
And that's by 9 thousandths of a second, technically 9 1,000ths of a second, what have you. But Brandon Proudfoot coming in pretty much out of absolutely, well, not exactly out of nowhere, but with a lightning quick time. We'll see if he can better that, but he timed that perfect. He timed that after the run, that after Bobby Rafferty was done running, that Proudfoot says, okay, you know what? This waiting might do me good because of the track surface, but as well as the fact that, well, Rafferty can't better my lap time if he's already done with this qualifying run.
Exactly, and probably a little bit of teammate watching there. There's those two are teammates and are able to talk a little bit about track state as they go around. Proudfoot, they're unable to better his time, but we're going to watch Bobby Hayes as he works his way around the track now in that bright orange machine. He's taking that midline, crossing the start-finish line there with a 16.4. That is going to dock him in 11th currently.
And right now, this is his final lap for Bobby Hayes. As we go ahead and take a look at J.R. Shepard, who has yet to put in a qualifying time, and this will be his first of 4 for that number 98 machine, as Hayes is not able to bear his lap time past 11th place in the meantime. Shepard and Kibbe, the last two to put in qualifying runs.
And Shepard, looks like he got a little tangled up with one of those tractor tires down on the inside, or maybe just caught a little bit of the dirt. I couldn't see exactly. So he's going to try to get back and get going here. Still a lap time not put in. He and Kibbe, the only two out, as I believe we may have, as Ron Snyder was out, and now he's taking a look back inside.
I think for J.R. Shepard, it was a combination of both over-rotation and the fact that he just barely clipped the, by the looks of it at least, he barely clipped the tractor tires. So at the moment, 14th place for Shepard, and while considering how dominant he has been in this league overall, wouldn't be surprised if he got himself a top 10, even a top 5, as he has been consistent around there. Same with the 14 of Kenny Kibbe, who's about to wrap up his qualifying run. Shepard up to 4th place. Can Kibbe also slot himself into the top 5 with this time? Not quite, still 7th.
Yeah, Kibbe running that low line. Shepard was running the high line as we watched him, so it looks like the high line is the way to be around here. Shepard just tried a lap on a little bit of a lower line, about 2/10 slower than he was. Kibbe now, it looks like he's slowing down slightly. He may have one more lap left to gather it. No, he's going to call it a night.
Yeah, and that was the end of his run. Unfortunately for Kibbe, over-rotated and had carried too little speed off of turn number 4, but still managed to keep the car under control. But at that point, he just decided to roll it to the line. But with that being said, 10 seconds remaining. Qualifying has pretty much wrapped up for all 15 of your drivers here tonight. We're going to be heading into our heat races here in just a couple moments time, and it's going to be the opportunity for many drivers to get some points here. I believe, once I double check here, I believe it will be the top 4 drivers in the finishing order here that will be getting points in the heat races.
Yeah, so that'll be something to check an eye on as we get ready to grid up here for the first heat race.
For that first heat race, it's going to be Brendan Proudfoot starting off on the front row, J.R. Shepard to his outside. Kenny Kibbe starts off 3rd, John Wilson 4th, and 5th place is going to be Bobby Hayes. It's going to be 3 heat races. This is the first of 3, 5 cars per heat for tonight's event. 6 laps, top 3 automatically transfer to the feature, and those who don't finish in the top 3 will just be set to the B main, only to see where they will be sorted out for the feature event.
That's right, and what's going to be interesting here to see is if Brendan Proudfoot decides to do any sort of lane choices. We saw him having some really good effect running that high line. He may choose to go high here in these heat races, but as of right now, I can't tell exactly where he's going to line up, but that's the thing to keep an eye on as we start tonight.
It looks like Proudfoot will stay firm on that inside lane and not risk the outside lane so early on. So might try a crossover maneuver here on the main start. Pace truck getting ready to pull off into the infield, into pit road. That would give the control over to the 22. And the field is now in his hands. As the green flag is being shown, foot on the loud pedal. It's green flag racing here at Kokomo Speedway.
And J.R. Shepard immediately just sticking on that high line with Proudfoot coming down low. Momentum's going to carry Shepard, have a little bit of a run here. We're going to have to see how this plays. Shepard's not going super low, keeping on sort of a middle line, and that's allowing Shepard to stay right up behind him.
And J.R. Shepard doing an incredible job, but watch out for Kenny Kibbe lurking on the inside there in turns 1 and 2. Utilizing that upper outside lane, though, J.R. Shepard doing a great job sticking with the back bumper of the 22.
Yeah, he's really, really keeping it in there. And Kibbe gets up under the wall, but Proudfoot sets the absolute fastest lap here as that's a 15.589. Everybody looking to prefer that high line. I think, Gary, that's going to be the way to go early in these heat races.
halfway in this first heat, and yep, well, right when you said that, there goes Ken and Kibbe now up to the outside. So that's going to be the very top lane to definitely prefer here. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these drivers were definitely watching, seeing where the track state will be come, say, the third heat race. If you're anyone starting in that third heat race, Kibbe setting the fastest lap time now. 1 lap to go, and it looks to be spread out enough to not really have too much of a challenge for these drivers in your top 3. We'll see if anything does happen, though. But Brendan Proudfoot onto the back straightaway with half a lap left. Rounds turns 3 and 4 up on the top side with Jared Shepard and Kenny Kibbe following in second and third, respectively. Those top 3 will be moving on to the feature of Proudfoot, Shepard, and Kibbe, with Wolfson and Hayes going into the B main.
Yeah, that was just an absolute masterclass, as always, from Brandon Proudfoot. But interesting to see that those low lines not working out at all. We'll have to see in this second heat race, though, if anybody decides to line up on the outside as their preferred lane. It'll be something to keep an eye on.
So with these heat races, it's going to be the top 4 drivers that will be getting points. It'll be 8 points for first, 7 points for second, 6 points for third place, and 5 points for fourth place. Fifth place does not get points in these heat races, as it is Bobby Rafferty starting off on the front row, with Chris Davis up on his outside. Watch out for these two battling in this heat race as well as throughout the feature event. Robbie Robinson will be third. Fourth place, Brennan Myers, and fifth place is Joe Segala.
And Gary, just as we talked about, there goes Bobby Rafferty taking that car to the outside lane. Leader does have lane choice in both the heat races, the B main and the A main, and Rafferty preferring to start on that outside line.
In some cases, and especially after watching the very first heat race, a good call from Bobby Rafferty, as I'm going to do a relatively forbidden thing and try and do math here throughout tonight's event, trying to keep track of points between the front two in points. Bobby Rafferty, great start. Chris Davis, not so much, but he might be able to get an advantage here with the inside lane off turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. He does a great job, but the outside lane just carrying significantly more momentum.
Yeah, it looked like Davis put the power down a little bit too hard coming off turn 4 for that start, and it just caused him to wiggle a little bit. That's Brendan Myers keeping it nice and tight, or at least he was. Now Rafferty able to pull out a little bit, but that is just complete side-by-side action. One of the glories of Kokomo, like I said, you can be side-by-side and have no idea that you are. But Rafferty now really starting to pull away. Davis stubbornly sticking down to that low side, and credit where credit's due, it's working for him.
Doing a great job, doing a wonderful job for Chris Davis. Brendan Myers lurking up in the background in third place, and quite literally up on the top side. But well, in the meantime, the 07 of Davis and the 7 of Rafferty continue to battle it out. Although with that exit off turn number 2, it might go in favor of Rafferty permanently. And with 2 laps to go in the seat, that looks to be the case.
Yeah, Rafferty just following in his teammates' tire tracks there and keeping it onto that outside. But Davis showing that inside line can work relatively well if you make it. And now we're going to come across to the white flag lap. There's Davis getting a little bit of that infield grass, but he's got a pretty good hold here. And now he jumps up to a little bit of a midline as we get ready to take the checker flag.
Coming into turns 3 and 4, a battle for the chance for Spa as well in the back. In the meantime, it's going to be Rafferty first. Second place going to be Chris Davis. Third place, drag race, and it's going to be Brendan Myers by half a car length, edging out Robbie Robinson. Joe Segala finishes in 5th place by half a car length. Robbie Robinson nearly immediately advanced to the feature and almost gave himself a break, but a great battle between the two between Brendan Myers and Robinson.
Yeah, Robertson coming off of turn 4 tried to throw a nice little slide job there on Brendan Myers, and Myers was able to just have a nose enough ahead to not let it happen. So I think that could be a precursor of things to come as we get into these bigger races later on.
And with that, well, DJ, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our third heat race here. Let's see, first place. Second place going to be, first place going to be Justin Morton. Second place going to be Steven Spees. Ron Snyder in third. Fourth place, Austin Belke. And fifth place being Mike Holloway. Steven Spees, that's a name that's very much flashing at me, DJ.
Yeah, Spees is going to be hard to beat, but once again, we see Morton taking to that outside lane as his lane choice. So Spees is going to have his work cut out for him to try to get it. He's going to hope to have a better jump than Davis did in that last start.
And we'll see how this goes, giving Spees the inside lane. Not entirely sure about that call, but we'll see as Morton gets a great start and immediately just enough by a car length up on the outside, and Spees immediately follows. Great start for Morton, and just like that, Spees looks to go to the inside, tries to drag race, tries to take to the inside lane and get that lead as many points as possible, but Morton fights back on the outside.
And that start was great from Steven Spees, just kind of pushing Morton up to the outside, but now they're back into a drag race. Morton has the advantage here. Spees is going to try to come back on that little bit of a lower lane there, but all of this fighting has allowed Austin Belke, well, it did allow Austin Belke to kind of push his way up in there, but he gets up into the wall. But Spees not letting up on Justin Morton at all, but Morton setting the fastest lap with a 15.6.
And that's going to be a very key thing here, running up on this outside lane, especially come the B main and then the warm-up sessions as well. Spees with everything that he had in the first couple laps of this race, the first lap especially. We'll see if he might be saving something here with 2 laps to go, DJ.
He might, but I think if you hold that outside lane like Justin Morton does, it's very, very hard to try to make a move. And if I'm Steven Spees, I don't want to do anything too crazy, but here he sets the fastest lap with a 15.583, gets right behind, I think he may have got up into the wall just very, very slightly there. They are nose to tail as they take the white flag.
This could be a chance for a crossover from Steven Spees. Tries to duck low off turn number 2 and get that momentum. Dives down to the very inside. Can he get the slide job done? He can't, unfortunately, as the low lane does not work, but the high lane works in favor of Justin Morton. Spees comes home second. Third place being Austin Belke. And that's Ron Snyder and Mike Holloway going into the B main in 4th and 5th place.
And Gary, I think the biggest thing to take out of that was the track state of when Spees tried to throw that low line in there on the last lap. That inside line is so rubbered in right now. It's so hard to get anything done, and Spees was just unable to get the car pointed forwards. So that's not going to affect us as we get into, say, the opening stages of the A main, but as we get into the closing laps, that could be exactly what you see the difference between a victory and a defeat. As we get to the checkered flag of that A main.
And now with your B main event, 6 drivers will be trying to figure out where they will be sorting themselves out for the bottom half of the field. John Wilson starts off in first, Robbie Robinson on the outside in the second row, and outside in the first row in second place. Then the actual second row is going to be Ron Snyder in third, Bobby Hayes at 4th place, and the final row is Joe Segala and Mike Holloway.
And this is going to be a real test to see once again on that track state. A lot of these guys who've already qualified for the A main, they're going to be trying to take a look, see what the track's going to be doing here, as the state's going to be similar to what we see in the closing stages of the A main here in the beginning stages of the B.
Pace truck into the infield. 10 laps for 6 drivers to see where they will sort themselves out for this feature event. Green flag flies. John Wilson with a great start on the inside lane, slides himself off the racetrack, or at least attempts to. Doesn't want to fully cut off Robbie Robinson, but Robinson will go ahead and gladly say, well, go ahead and move up to the outside. I will gladly take this middle lane, but unfortunately contact was made there, and that's going to leave Snyder and Robinson side by side for second.
And that's going to be Snyder really poking his nose up, as now Snyder's going to be able to move himself up into second position, running that low line. These leaders all running just very slightly different lines. Everybody trying to stay out of that rubbered in area down on the low side like we talked about as we ride on board here with Robbie Robinson. You can see there up ahead John Wilson riding off that wall a little bit, and you can't see it, but to his inside, he is in a fierce battle with Ron Snyder, as these guys are just tooth and nail all over this track.
These two fighting hard for second place, getting turned around as Robbie Robinson. Huge contact is Joe Segala with absolutely nowhere to go. No caution as well, as it was such a quick incident, and I'm pretty sure that the iRacing service didn't exactly know what to do there, but that's of course understandable because, well, it was in a sense so far near the back of the field, everyone was spread out. So, well, unfortunately for Joe Segala, he is out at least of the B main for now. Well, he's still eligible to participate in the future event, but man, that's disappointing for Segala with absolutely nowhere to go. Gets a quick fix and gets himself back out there.
Yeah, that really just tore up the front of his car there. But what this means for John Wilson is he's got a relatively easy path forward here as we watch. That's Ron Snyder trying to work his way forward, see if he can cut in anything. Snyder running on that little bit of a medium line, let's call it, just trying to stay out of the super rubbered in area down low and trying to find anything. But he's got about, I would say, maybe a 7 or 8 car gap up to John Wilson, who's currently leading to take 3 laps to go.
And of course, everyone says how realistic the iRacing service is. Well, just like real life, sometimes exceptions are made for some incidents at dirt tracks, and this is one of those cases where, well, that exception was made. Both drivers were able to get back going. Not everyone was impeded, so you know what? Might as well keep the race green. And with 2 laps to go, John Wilson with who had a great initial start, a great battle with Robbie Robinson, at least defending as well from Robinson. Nearly over rotates in turns 3 and 4 with 1 lap to go at the start-finish line. And he does take the white flag. Hopefully he won't over-rotate it again. That's knocking on wood there for sure. But regardless, a great run from John Wilson, a great run from Ron Snyder as well. He'll get himself second. Wilson smoothly goes through turns 3 and 4, takes the checkered flag, and finishes first place. Second place going to be the 29 of Ron Snyder, Bobby Hayes third, Mike Holloway, Robbie Robinson, and Joe Segala 4th, 5th, and 6th. And now, DJ, a quick 5-minute warm-up as well with the virtual water trucks after they took to the track.
Exactly, and so we're going to get a little bit of a reset on this track, but everybody's now going to want to really test out and see where the lines are going to be best as they work their way around as we ride on board with Brandon Proudfoot. You can see there a really good example, that rubbered-in area I was talking about that caught out some of the drivers earlier. We'll have to see what that does as the drivers put down a little bit of rubber here in this 5-minute practice session.
Of course, depending on how many drivers will be taking laps to this session, it's going to be my favorite part, trying to figure out how many laps will be run by these drivers on the track. And, well, shockingly enough, I do not have that ready on the spot as of yet. But regardless, though, in the meantime, it's pretty much how this goes for me, at least. It's 1 lap, well, 40 laps per each individual car, so have 15 drivers running 40 laps individually, 600 total laps on the track. That is... And yet we're still surprised sometimes on how the track state, well, not exactly surprised, more interested on how the track state runs throughout the entire rest of the event.
It's the beauty of dirt tracks, Gary, is that it just comes in like that, and I give you massive credit because I could not do any of that math with a pencil, a calculator, or my brain itself. But we watch here Brandon Proudfoot currently setting the fastest time with a 15.32, and he goes even faster with a 15.291.
Very interesting here with Brandon Proudfoot setting the fast time, at least for now, especially since he did qualify in checking your first place position. Well, actually, that's no longer surprising, as I had that missorted. So Rafferty is going to be the one that will have to fire back here with lap times.
Yeah, Rafferty's going to have to, but he's within a half a tenth, so I wouldn't call him completely out of the game here. I think, as we've seen a lot of times before, barring any crazy incidents, it's going to be these guys really battling it out of the front. Justin Morton, though, keeping it nice and tight behind them. He's about a tenth back of Bobby Rafferty as J.R. Shepard and Chris Davis run out your top 5.
After doing a bit of rough math, I can unofficially, of course, say that again, unofficially, heavy emphasis on this, is that the gap in the points are now, well, by the looks of this, 125 points between Rafferty and Spees. Rafferty has 630 points, Spees with 505 points, and that's with, of course, the heats and the qualifying points calculated already. So a staggering plus 3 points for Rafferty so far tonight. So if Spees is not going down, he's definitely not going down without a fight.
No, he's not. He's currently not running the best times right now, only down with a 15.529. That puts him at about 8th place. But as we've seen time and time again, when we get running in this race, Steven Spees knows how to make these passes and knows how to make them work. So don't count him out whatsoever. He's going to be one to really, really watch. He knows what's at stake, and he's going to be doing his best to get up to the front.
And of course, well, at least as of this week, if you're going to be interested, or if you're still interested in running iRacing, well, you can run with 93 tracks and 104 cars, a total of 25,575 different types of combinations here on iRacing, provided you, in some cases, have the proper setup for that car or track combination. Again, I heavily emphasize that's for this week, because next week we're going to be having a couple more cars and a couple more tracks as well to add to that. So more combinations and pretty much relatively virtually endless possibilities here on what you really can do with iRacing. So again, if you're interested, go to iracing.com/memberships. And well, it's going to be this race is going to be something in the meantime, though. Of course, you could also run with these drivers if you want. Run the dirt street stock. I believe, if I do recall correctly, it is included with base content.
It is, but tracks like Kokomo like this are not, so you're going to have to purchase it, although some of the tracks we have been to this year, Lanier, I believe, USA Speedway, and Lima Land are included with your base membership, so certainly enough to be able to get you out there and get a good taste of what it's like to see what these guys are doing on a daily basis.
And it's absolutely incredible. So much fun. I still have yet to run these once again, but I definitely need to. But these guys are definitely having a lot of fun. It's a great group of drivers, a great league to run with as well, a great league to watch. They put on impressive racing. So bootlegracingleague.com, in case you're interested in checking out more of their schedules. They also run the National Series on Saturday nights, also here on GSRC. In the meantime, though, tonight's event is the third to last event, and well, that 40-lap event as well will be coming up here momentarily, and we'll be getting your starting grid as well in just a couple of moments. Proudfoot, probably one of the lucky ones there, hitting that tractor tire there on the inside. If anyone does that, well, they better hope they're as lucky as Brendan Proudfoot, as well. The lights have dimmed, or the lights have activated, I should say. The sun has set, and the starting grid is filling. Brendan Proudfoot will start off on the front row, out-qualifying Bobby Rafferty by 9 1/1000ths of a second. And Rafferty will start in second place. Justin Morton will be starting third. Fourth place will be J.R. Shepard, and fifth place being rounded out by Chris Davis.
Steven Spees is going to be starting off in sixth. Look for him to move his way up the field, as along with his person in line with him, Kenny Kibbe, in seventh. Brennan Myers is going to be starting off in eighth, followed by Austin Belke in ninth, and John Wilson rounding out your top 10 in 10th.
And then the final five drivers is starting in, well, first off, starting in 11th place is Ron Snyder. Bobby Hayes starts off in 12th. 13th place is Mike Holloway. 14th place is Robbie Robinson. And Joe Scala rounds out your 15-car field here for tonight. Brendan Proudfoot for the lead does not appear to be making a move to the outside lane. And we'll see how this fares coming into the rest of tonight. 40 laps. Again, the third to last race of the season. Next week we go to Volusia and then cap off the season at the dirt track at Charlotte. It's a chance to extend the lead for Bobby Rafferty. It's a chance to close the lead for Steven Spees. And it's a chance for Brandon Proudfoot to get another podium position here with his teammate as the green flag flies here with the 9th race of the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series season. It's a great start by Brandon Proudfoot, utilizing the inside lane. I wouldn't be surprised if he very quickly opted to go right back up to the outside.
That's right, he's really getting down onto that low patch of wet dirt there right before the grass. He's getting that left front tire there, getting the perfect amount of rotation. So kudos to Proudfoot, really having to thread the needle between the slick there and the nice moist dirt. But he is starting to pull away a little bit here from Bobby Rafferty, who's up running that high line.
The cushion looks to be forming just a little bit already, at least on corner entry. Rafferty actually opts for the inside lane, interestingly enough, although unfortunately that line didn't help him out too much by the looks of that. As we take a look and see where everybody is, I see J.R. Shepard in the wall there from this high camera shot provided to us by Dougie Beer. Thanks to him for providing amazing camera angles here throughout the time of GSRC, although Steven Spees getting up on the outside of Chris Davis and Justin Morton, trying to get himself around and utilize that cushion as the caution is out for the first time tonight. Looks to be John Wilson with a quick spin off turn number 4 in that number 75 machine.
Yeah, we're going to jump back to replay here as we watch. That is Wilson there in the purple 75. It's him coming off turn 2 right there. Robbie Robinson right behind him. He goes in, gets a little bit too much onto that slick stuff and turns it right around. Ooh, big hit there. So that's going to damage both of their cars. Don't know if it's terminal, if somebody's going to have to come in and get a fast repair.
I'd say with a hit like that, square on the nose with Ron Snyder as we ride on board, well, actually we'll take a look and see just how quickly things happen here. Everything's fine, everything's fine. 3, 2, 1. You try to move and you see Snyder trying to move out of the way, thinking, oh, okay, it's going to slide all the way down to the inside of the track. And, well, unfortunately, that was not the case for Ron Snyder. Wilson does grab himself a quick fix, and that is available to these drivers if necessary. So, already getting ready to go back to green flag racing here on lap number 9 once we cross the start finish line.
And crucially out of that, you can see J.R. Shepard was able to get into 3rd as we get ready to take the green flag, and here comes Proudfoot on the loud pedal.
Just like the initial start, it's relatively even, although the advantage eventually does go to Brendan Proudfoot in first place position. Slowly sneaking his way up through the field as well in the inside lane and getting caught up actually in a little bit of a bottle up is Steven Spees, although the inside lane, aside from Brendan Proudfoot, being led by J.R. Shepard here. So everyone trying to challenge on that inside lane, trying to challenge the outside lane, just hoping that the track state can stabilize on that inside lane and hope the moisture can stay in there for just a few laps longer.
Yeah, they're all trying it, but it looks like right now Brandon Proudfoot's the only one to really make it work, as I keep watching J.R. Shepard here trying to get that left front tire down onto that little narrow strip of grass, or a strip of dirt. You can see it there, that different color than what he's running on normally, trying to get it. He's just not having the luck, and now he's getting passed by Justin Morton on the outside. Shepard falling back to 4th. Morton really being able to power ahead, and Speed's starting to take a look up the inside, trying to find anything over Shepard.
Speed's trying to find anything and try and at least close the gap as quickly as possible between himself and Bobby Rafferty, quite literally and figuratively, although the inside lane slowly looks to be losing its momentum, but Speed's just able to get to the inside, puts a nose under J.R. Shepard. Shepard not able to get the proper line, get that advantage to Steven Speeds, move him up at the moment to about 4th place.
And that's going to force J.R. Shepard back out to the outside, but that's going to give him a little bit more momentum. They're going to be side by side as they cross the line. It's going to be interesting to see here who's going to be able to take this. This is vintage Kokomo here, Gary, of when they exit the corner, that low line looking like it's the fast one, and then the momentum carrying the high line car all the way around the track.
And that high lane as well as the cushion up on the top side greatly helping out these cars, and well, it's greatly helping out Justin Morton and Bobby Rafferty. They're 2nd and 3rd place at the moment, and they are just absolutely running away. But interestingly enough, even after this breakaway, take a look at our leader, Brendan Proudfoot. He's still running the inside lane, so he knows that there's something there. He's running that car absolutely incredibly well.
He's just got the feel for it here tonight. Nobody else really able to find that perfect line. But as that little strip of dirt gets narrower and narrower, don't be surprised if we see him come up, I would say, within about 10 laps. But in the meantime, Brandon, you're working it right. Keep going.
Closing in on the halfway point of this race as well. Once we cross 21 laps, it'll be 20 laps to go here at Kokomo Speedway. A great job so far. 2 teammates running completely 2 different lanes, but, well, let's not count out the bottom portion of the top 5 as well. J.R. Shepard, Steven Spees both have made their way up to the outside lane. Spees wants to try that crossover move again. He attempted that in one of the heat races, but unfortunately that just didn't go into his favor as we cross the halfway point of this event. So Speed's hoping that at least it works out this time, as he's nearly right on the bumper.
Yeah, he's working every way, this way and that. I think he's just trying to size up a little bit Shepard, who gets a little bit more speed halfway through the corner there, able to back it off just a little bit, but Speed's very much stalking Shepard here, trying to find something, figure out where his line is. I would not be surprised if we see that crossover here, though, in the next couple of laps, as Justin Morton and Bobby Rafferty are starting to pull away from these two just ever so slightly.
fact, I believe as well. I believe, if I do recall correctly, for the first time this season, actually hold off as Spees tried to make a move. Contact was made for 4th place, and that's going to put both of them back into the clutches of Austin Belke. Spees all over the back bumper trying to get 4th place.
Yeah, Spees just tried to go for a nice little slide job there, but wasn't able to get the car position in front of JR Shepard, and as a result just kind of bumped into the side of him. No harm, no foul, though. Oh, they get into each other again. Spees carrying more speed through the corner. If I'm Steven Spees in that 55, Gary, I'm getting real frustrated at this point. I know I'm faster than him. I just want to go.
Yeah, with that bumper shot, I was about to say there is a bit of course, a line between a clean bump and run and, of course, absolutely shoving someone out of the way. Of course, that is a clean bump and run attempt by Steven Spees, so he's just trying to say, hey, I'm right behind you here, as Belke gets into the wall, gets himself off the wall. And Spees is just frustrated, of course, and these cars are built like tanks, so being bumped from behind, giving someone a little bit of a shot, or even, receiving pretty much a shot into the back bumper, it doesn't mess up, it doesn't unsettle the car too much because, well, of course, these things, again, are built like tanks. They are very stable as a driving right.
Oh, they'll take a lick and keep on ticking right away. This is, as we ride on board with Austin Belke, this is a really great run from Belke. We've not seen him near the front end of the field a whole lot this season, but he is currently running 6th, so I want to give a massive kudos to Belke in that red machine.
Doing an incredible job lurking up on the outside of the top 5 as well, if anything does happen between these two. So he is in a prime position, of course, just still trying to wrestle that car off of the outside wall and make sure everything is a-okay, and still try and keep that under control. Someone who's not exactly faring too well, actually, is Joe Segala, as these drivers will be catching up to him. Segala with huge suspension damage, unfortunately. That's going to be the caution, and that's the commentator's curse as well. And unfortunately for Austin Belke, well, he does have a quick fix available, but he has very heavy front end damage as we take a look to see what happened with Joe Segala.
Yeah, he had some massive damage there. You can see trying to drive that car straight, and it's going at its diagonal, just trying to get out of the way of everybody best he can. Belke not really having anywhere to go and just runs into the back of him here. You can see on board, that is going to be Segala right up there in front. You can see him about halfway through the corner ahead of JR Shepard. You can see him just kind of pinging off the wall there, trying to do something. We watch with Belke. Oh, poor Austin, nowhere to go, and just right into the back of Joe Segala.
No fault to Joe Segala either as well, trying to wrestle the car with damage and trying to stay out of the way, and unfortunately the opening was just there at the wrong time. That pushed him back out onto the track. Segala not able to get a quick fix, I believe, so quite unfortunate so far. Belke actually has not taken a quick fix, has opted to stay out. And lights are out on the top of the pace truck. Brandon Proudfoot will be restarting on the inside lane, outside lane, going to Bobby Rafferty. It's going to be 6 laps to go here, just like one of the heat races, except with significantly more drivers.
This is going to be fun. Here we go, Gary. Green flag flies, and it looks like Bobby Rafferty's going to try to challenge, but Brandon Proudfoot going to stay on that low line. Let's see how they fare.
Spees is well positioned up on the inside lane as well, trying to at least make it 3 wide in some way, trying to get around the 9 of Justin Morton, and he'll actually get alongside Justin Morton as well as Jared Shepard, who's way up on the outside lane. So it could be a podium position for Steven Spees, but again, he has to battle JR Shepard with nearly, well, this time by 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go, and you can see there in the corner of your screen, that was Austin Belke spinning off that damage. It looks like really affecting his car. Bobby Rafferty looked like he had a run there for Brandon Proudfoot for a while, but looks like Proudfoot's getting a little bit of the advantage. JR Shepard holding down 3rd place ahead of Steven Spees on that high line as they cross the line here with 3 to go. It's
going to be, at least at the moment, looks to be another 1-2 finish for these drivers for these two teammates here on this podium. JR Shepard lurking in 3rd place, trying to do everything that he can here with 2 laps to go. And don't count out Steven Spees, who is absolutely ripping that inside lane up, trying to find whatever part of momentum that he can. And right now, well, DJ with 1 lap to go, it's looking to be pretty close between the two teammates.
It is. We're going to have to see what that momentum can do for Bobby Rafferty and for Steven Spies behind him. I don't know if anybody's going to have anything for Proudfoot. It looks like he's got a pretty firm advantage, but Spies definitely trying to make a move on Shepard. Nothing doing. They're going to come through 3 and 4 to take the checkered flag, Gary.
That's Brendan Proudfoot in the 22, wins another race this season. Rafferty comes home in second, and it's third place going to J.R. Shepard for the first time in quite a while. Fourth place going to Steven Spies, and fifth place being rounded out by Chris Davis. But what an incredible job. Ran the inside lane the entire race for Brendan Proudfoot. Absolutely incredible job here as the fireworks go off.
He was really the only driver tonight to make that inside line work to perfection. So major kudos to Brandon Proudfoot. Drove an impeccable race. Bobby Rafferty right there as you see the two of them sharing that podium together. Great racing all around here at Kokomo tonight.
Well, we will be right back with your post-race interviews of your top 3 and a rundown of your unofficial race results and unofficial point standings as well. But don't go anywhere because you'll be seeing upcoming races here on GSRC. We'll be right back here at Kokomo. Welcome back to the virtual Kokomo Speedway here, where we just completed race number 9 of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stock Series. It was one caution, actually a couple cautions throughout the night, but regardless, it was great racing here throughout the night, and Brendan Proudfoot, utilizing the inside lane throughout the entire night, comes home in first place. His teammate comes home in second. Once again, those two teammates 1-2 for, I believe, the third or fourth time this season, with J.R. Shepard rounding out the third place position. Steven Spies still very closely lurking in points, finishes fourth. Chris Davis rounds out the top 5. Justin Morton finishes in 6th. 7th place is Brendan Myers. 8th place was Bobby Hayes. 9th place, Robbie Robinson. And rounding out the top 10 is Ron Snyder.
Mike Holloway able to bring the car home in 11th. Austin Belke ran as high as 6th place, but that damage with the 13th place driver of Joe Segalo demotes him down to 12th. John Wilson in 14th, and Kenny Kibbe all the way down in 15th place.
I'm going to go ahead and go to our post-race interviews for tonight. And, well, no stranger to winning here tonight in this series. Well, winning in this series, I should say, overall. Brendan Proudfoot bringing home another win for you and your teammate.
Yeah, track was really difficult tonight. It was, I think my left foot was more important than the right tonight, which I know for a lot of guys that coming into the sim, especially here in these short tracks, it's almost something you got to do to run the bottom here, and it definitely tested me tonight.
And that's absolutely incredible. Utilizing the inside lane throughout this entire night, working that wheel, and all throughout tonight as well. Especially, what a great way to come back after pretty much feeling a little bit ill. And, well, I think it's a bit of a great return in a sense.
Yeah, I was extremely thankful that we had that 2-week break in between. I thankfully was able to improve, not too many breathing issues anymore, and back to wheeling and dealing.
And before, of course, we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your race win?
Course, fistful of bourbon. Winners get whiskey, baby. General Tire, Polaris RZR, Vision Wheel, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, ASPX TV Axles, Gibson Performance, Acrona, Sant Racing Fabrication, 07 Designs, Chris Leone Motorsport Drop, Grant Pat, Mom, Sister, Girlfriend, and downstairs, and you guys are doing a broadcast.
And we thank you for your time as always. We hope to talk to you again next week at Volusia.
Looking forward to it.
That is first place finisher Brandon Proudfoot, third win of the season. And I'll go ahead and hand off to DJ Clark, who's standing by with Bobby Rafferty.
Well, Bobby, you kept it as close as you could, but Brandon just looked untouchable down there on that low line. But you did make that outside line look like a lot of fun. So talk me through that race, man.
I knew going into tonight that Brandon was going to be just about impossible to beat. And also with being so close to the end of the championship here and us having the lead, I wanted to go ahead and try to play it safe. So, it was another good night. Second place, extend our points lead again. I think we should just about have it wrapped up. I think if we finish in the top, 5 next week, we should clinch. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I've got to say, with your pace that you've had, I don't think that's too high of an order. But do you think it's possible? Do you foresee any troubles next week?
Anything can happen. Everybody is so close. I mean, I'll go back to that race at I believe it was at Fairbury, where we ended up 3 laps down. Things happen, and it is what it is. That's, like I said, that's why I just want to try to play it a little bit safe here and just get what we can get. If we clinch it at next week, then we can go for the win at Charlotte, and that's also honestly one of my favorite tracks to run at. So I would like to try to get back in victory lane there. It's been a couple seasons since we've been able to get the job done there.
Well, we'll be watching with bated breath, Bobby. Congrats on the second tonight, and you know the drill. Anybody you got to thank tonight?
Yeah, I obviously have to thank the sponsors, but first I got to give a quick shout out to a very close friend of mine and teammate Jesse Isidore and his band Design the Void. They'll be releasing their new single tomorrow on all streaming platforms. Song is called Phantoms. Just look them up on iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you guys stream your music at. Definitely check them out, especially if you're a heavy metal fan. As for people we got to thank, obviously got to thank the Cruise Shop for being with us for such a long time. I got to thank my team, Jim Beaver eSports. Got to also thank Fistful of Bourbon, another 1-2 finish. Winners get whiskey, baby. Also got to thank the Motorsports Drop, 07 Designs, Sans Racing Fabrications, everybody that helps put this deal together. And also want to thank you guys for the amazing work you guys do week in and week out.
Well, we're happy to do it, Bobby, and congratulations again on second place. And finally tonight, Gary is in the booth with our third place finisher, J.R. Shepard.
And standing here with the number 90, or driver of the number 98, J.R. Shepard. JR, it's been quite some time since you've been on the podium, but what a great race to be back on the podium, man, and a great run as well. A wonderful defense from battling with Steven Spies.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard-fought race for sure. Just happened to be in the right line at the right time. I think the top line was ultimately the faster line. You can make the bottom work for sure, but Brandon was the only one that had it 100% figured out. So a little bit of luck there, but yeah, a good run, and just doing everything I could to try to keep it off the wall tonight. There's some guys that are really good at using the wall to their advantage to help them out a little bit, but I'm not good at that. I'll tear it down if I go up there too far. So just trying to keep it clean.
And of course, going into Volusia next weekend, well, essentially the closing stages of the season overall, you and Steven Spies are still relatively very close in points, about, by the looks of this, 13 points. I may have to recalculate that in just a second, but still a very close battle for second place going into next week at Volusia, and potentially, depending on how next week goes, as well as the dirt track at Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss on this dirt stuff. Sometimes I can have a good run, and other times I can't. So I'm trying not to put a whole lot into it. Just come out and try to have fun and get experience each and every week. So just trying to keep that going.
Double check, and it definitely is 13 points. So hopefully we'll be seeing you two battle it out next week as well. And well, before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you like to give a shout out to for your third place finish here?
Yeah, just to the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to do this each and every week. Being able to race on dirt on Friday nights is extremely cool, and to have the cruise shop for as long as we have has been great. And then also we've got the motorsports drop now, so it's great to have good partners like that.
I thank you for your time. We hope to talk to you again next week at Volusia.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Is the driver the number 98, J.R. Shepard. And quick point before we go into wrapping up and giving and thanking people of our own, it is 133 points between Bobby Rafferty and Steven Spees, and I'm still going to be double checking that regardless of saying that. Yep, 133 points. So DJ, I think at that point next week that it could be a little bit of relaxation for Rafferty.
It could be. It looks pretty good, but you heard Bobby say it himself. Anything can happen in dirt racing, Gary.
That is very much that's very much true, and throughout pretty much racing in general. So first off, with the heat races, the sponsor of tonight's heat races, we'd like to thank Jim Beaver eSports for having their sponsorship of the heat races for tonight. And remember, you can follow the team at jimbeaveresports.com, or you can visit them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up with their drivers in iRacing World Championships, private leagues, and so much more. We'd also like to thank the Cruise Shop for having their sponsorship continued in the Bootleg Racing League. You can contact them at 260-755-6125, or you can go to their website, thecruiseshopfw.com. Remember that they are dedicated to fulfilling their client streams, one destination at a time. Thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for having us continue the coverage of their league events, as well as, of course, not limited to, well, the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Shootout Series and the Grand National Series that happens on Saturday nights. In the meantime, you can see the companies that provide the software and hardware that allow us to do these broadcasts listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to June Lalonde, who provides our incredible music. If you're interested in having her provide some of her incredible music, you can contact her at the link on the screen, which is also in the description below. Make sure to take note of races going by on your screen, but we also do have an expanded list at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can go ahead and follow our various social media accounts. You can visit our Twitter, which is at GSR Channel. Our Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and our Instagram is at GSRC_brand. Finally, if you'd like to support the channel, you can go ahead and check out our merchandise store, which is our Store Envy. You can visit that at gsrc.storeenvy.com. You can also follow the link in the description below. Don't forget to hit that bright red subscribe button as well as the notification bell, and make sure to set your preference to all so you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. However, if the button is already gray, well, we're glad you're enjoying our broadcast, and we thank you for your continued support. As we wrap up from the virtual Kokomo Speedway, we'd like to congratulate Brendan Proudfoot on his third race win of the season. Next week, we head to Volusia Speedway Park for the second to last race of the season. On behalf of the team today, co-commentator DJ Clark, director Joe Peak, and camera provider Dougie Beard, I'm Gary Weaver, and we thank you for tuning in to race number 9 on the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Shootout Series, as well as the Global Sim Racing channel. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.